Tokenizing on whole words has a nasty problem. Give it a word it never saw during training, a typo, a brand name, a rare medical term, and it simply throws up its hands and calls the whole thing unknown. Going down to single characters fixes that, but now your sequences are enormous and slow to process. So here's the question. What if you could keep common words whole and break only the rare ones into smaller, reusable pieces? That is Subword Tokenization, and it is the quiet trick sitting underneath GPT, BERT, and basically every modern language model. Let's dig in. First, let's see the exact bind that Subword Tokenization escapes. Splitting on whole words feels natural, but the vocabulary explodes into hundreds of thousands of entries, and any word missing from that list becomes a useless, unknown token. Go the other way, down to single characters, and the vocabulary shrinks beautifully. But now every sentence stretches into a long chain of tiny, almost meaningless pieces. Both extremes force a painful choice, either a bloated dictionary or endless sequences, and neither one is something you actually want to live with. Subword Tokenization threads the needle between those two extremes. Common words like the, and stay whole as single tokens, while a rare word gets broken into meaningful chunks it can reuse elsewhere. You get a modest, fixed vocabulary that can still represent absolutely any word you throw at it. So how does a tokenizer actually learn which pieces to use? The most common recipe is byte pair encoding, and it is wonderfully simple. Watch it build. You start by treating every word as a bare sequence of individual characters. No merges yet, just a raw alphabet plus a marker for word boundaries. This is the humble starting vocabulary that byte pair encoding is going to grow. Then you scan the entire corpus and count how often each adjacent pair of symbols appears next to each other. Maybe the letter T followed by an H shows up constantly. These frequency counts tell you which combination is the most useful to fuse first. You take the single most frequent pair and merge it into one brand new token, adding it to the vocabulary. That common T and H become a single unit, and everywhere they appeared together in the corpus, they are now treated as one piece. Then you simply repeat, counting pairs and merging the most frequent one over and over. Slowly, frequent words fuse back into whole tokens while rare ones stay in pieces, and you stop once the vocabulary reaches the size you picked. That size is the main dial you control. Strip it down, and 3 ideas make Subword Tokenization the default. First, it breaks rare words into smaller, reusable pieces while leaving common words untouched. A word like tokenization might split into tokenization, chunks that show up in plenty of other words, so nothing gets wasted. Second, it very nearly eliminates the unknown word problem, all with a fixed, modest vocabulary. Even a word the model has never seen decomposes into familiar pieces, so there's essentially no out-of-vocabulary gap left to worry about. Third, this is what actually powers modern language models. Byte pair encoding, WordPiece inside BERT, and unigram methods all learn subword vocabularies, giving models an open vocabulary and sequences that stay a sensible length. It also lets words that share a root share statistical strength, which is a quiet but real win. All right, let's lock in what matters. Subword tokenization breaks rare or unknown words into smaller reusable pieces while keeping common words whole. So a model handles any word with a modest, fixed vocabulary. It escapes the bind of the alternatives. Whole word tokens blow up the vocabulary, and character tokens make sequences painfully long, while subword lands neatly between them. The dominant algorithms are byte pair encoding, WordPiece used in BERT and unigram or sentence piece, and the vocabulary size is the main knobby tune. Because it gives an open vocabulary with reasonable sequence lengths, it sits underneath GPT, BERT, and Llama alike. Want the rest of the modern NLP stack demystified the same way? That is exactly what we do over at Standardy.com. Come explore.